And remember, there's dorsal mesentery and ventral mesentery, our two main divisions. And the dorsal mesentery runs between the gut tube and the dorsal body wall. So that's what we see here. That's the dorsal mesentery. Okay. And it's got different regions depending on what part of the gut it's attaching to. So the part that runs and connects to the stomach that I'm showing you here is called the mesogaster or greater omentum. Okay. Gaster, the root in the stomach. So mesogaster or greater omentum. There's a little tiny part of the dorsal mesentery that connects the spleen to the stomach, and that's called the gastrosplenic ligament, and it's just this little bit right in there. Kind of not that exciting, but there it is. Then there's also a mesentery for the intestine, and that's this here. See what I'm touching? Okay. And just to be confusing, this mesentery is called what? The mesentery. So the mesentery of the intestine is called the mesentery proper, like the actual mesentery.
That?
Yes, with a big capital T under the. So the mesentery proper. And then the last bit of dorsal mesentery in these guys, let's do it on here, it's easier to see, is the mesentery associated with the digitiform gland, and that's called the mesocolon, because this is kind of the last bit of the gut. Okay, so that's dorsal mesentery. Ventral mesentery, I haven't actually looked to see if we can see it on these guys, so let's just see where we are. So which is my better bet? I think we'll try here first. Okay, so there's two parts of the ventral mesentery. One part runs from the liver to the ventral body wall. And that can be seen right here in the midline of the liver. It's been cut off the ventral body wall, but right there. And that would be called the falciform ligament. So that's this thing right here. Okay. Well, that's the falciform ligament. The other part then is the, and you can look at my little diagram there, see? Falciform ligament between liver and ventral body wall. What's the part between the liver and the gut? The lesser omentum. So this is always a little confusing to people because they're like, oh, there's nothing there. But here we go. Here's the liver. Here's the stomach. Do we see anything connecting them?
Yep.
Oh, wow. That is the lesser omentum. And what people sort of don't realize that because running through the lesser omentum, there's a bile duct and blood vessels. And they're sort of get confused by that. But that is the lesser omentum. You guys all saw that? All right, good. So if we look down here, we see lesser omentum has in parentheses after it gastrohepatoduodenal ligament. I'm fine with lesser omentum. If you don't want to say gastrohepatoduodenal ligament. But there is a split in the lesser omentum into a hepatogastric and hepatoduodenal ligament, and I wanted to show you that. So here's the lesser omentum, and you can see one line of it comes over here to the stomach. That's the hepatogastric ligament, and another one comes over to the duodenum, and that's the hepatoduodenal ligament. So for you guys, here's the hepatogastric ligament coming to the stomach, and hepatoduodenal ligament going to the duodenum. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. Subsidiary mesenteries. So those are the real mesenteries, but then other organs can sometimes pouch out into the abdominal cavity and have a mesentery associated with them when they do that. So, for example, the testis has, oops, that one has no mesentery. Let's try the other side and see if that works better. Excuse me. Aha. Yeah, sort of. There we can see a little bit of mesentery right there, with connecting the testis to the dorsal body wall, and that's called the what? You're right. Mesorchium, yeah. Okay. Did you see that at all? No. Okay. So let me know if you don't see it, because I'll just wave my shark around happily. Okay. So that's the mesorchium, and then there's likewise in a female a mesentery of the ovary, which is called the mesovarium. Not too unreasonably, right there. Okay, you see that? And then the oviduct itself has a mesentery, and that is called the mesotubarium. It's going to the tube, the ovary, the oviduct, right there. All right, so those would be mesenteries. See, this is nice stuff, yeah? Very simple, makes sense. Okay, further structure of digestive organs. So we get to esophagus, and it says papillae. And since you cut open your pharynx and gut, you can see all these little papillae that line the esophagus right here. And that's the easiest way to distinguish esophagus from the pharynx and the stomach, is the presence of those papillae on the inside. On the outside of the esophagus, there's really not a clear distinction from the stomach. Okay. The stomach itself, it's going to be easier on this one or this one. Let's look on this one here. So here's the stomach, and it's been cut open. We'll put it back together again for the moment. Maybe. We'll try. The stomach has, where am I? A rugae. Oh, I needed those. It has these long folds on the inside, and those are called the rugae of the stomach. Okay? And that's, you can see the boundary between the stomach and esophagus there, where the rugae stop and the papillae start. Can you see that at all from way back there? All right, see that? Okay. So that's the stomach with its rugae. And then there's just some names for different parts of the stomach. So the cardiac region of the stomach is the part that's closest to the heart, the top of the stomach or cranial end of it. Makes sense. Cardiac region. The body is the main part of the stomach. Big surprise. The pyloric region is this last little bit of the stomach right before it goes into the intestine. And that's, if you feel it, you can feel a thick muscular valve in its wall because there's a pyloric sphincter in there that restricts flow of things out of the stomach until it's ready. Oh, pylorus. So that's pyloric region. Pylorus is that actual region, that actual sphincter. These terms are a little confusing to people. The greater curvature, these actually come from human anatomy. Easier to see on this one since it's not been cut open. The greater curvature of the stomach is the outside that curves around like this. The lesser curvature is the inside that curves around like this. So this is the greater curvature here. This is the lesser curvature here. Okay. You see it at all, Mackenzie? Okay. Greater curvature like that, and the lesser curvature like that. Okay. And those same terms are used in human anatomy or mammalian anatomy in general. Okay, intestine, spiral valve, we already saw. The liver has lobes. There's a left lobe and a right lobe and a median lobe. Okay. What's in the median lobe that's extra special?
Gallbladder.
The gallbladder. So that's where we see this thin sac. That's the gallbladder that's just storing bile. And the bile duct we also already saw running through the lesser omentum down to the gut.